Hey guys, so there is a new build in the Striker community. Well, not really a new build, just kind of like a new meta, because this build has been found before, but I think that nobody's really thought about using it or wanted to use it until now. And at this moment, it looks like every single Striker in KR, or at least most Strikers, are using it. As you can see, I'm gonna pull up over here. This is Mint Roar's character, and she is running this sweeping kick right here. This is another Korean ranker. I'm just went to the top like 5 or so strikers, Deathblow strikers in Korea and Loa. Here's another one running sweeping kick. Here's another one running sweeping kick. Here's another one running it. So a lot of them have swapped over to the sweeping kick build. And what is this build? Well, all you need to do is replace Moonflash Kick with sweeping kick. It's that simple. Now, why are people running this build? Well, that's also simple. It's because sweeping kick does more damage. It's a little bit more clunky, but at the end of the day, it does more damage, so people are running it. So let's take a look here, right? Sweeping kick, I'm gonna throw this out, 35 mil. But how much does Moonflash Kick do? About 7 mil. So a lot less damage. And also, it gets affected by the Laz Umar set. So I'm gonna throw this out right here. Boom, 42 instead of 35, right? So it gets affected by the card set, which again is an increase in damage. So that's why a lot of the Koreans are running this as the new meta. Now, I've been playing around with this build for a couple days now, and I have thoughts. And first off, I want to visit our good old friend, the Striker, Discord, right? I've gone to the Striker. I've told you about the Striker Discord before in my Deathblow Striker kind of complete guide. I'll link that over here, I guess, if you guys haven't watched it. But as you can see here in the Striker Discord, they have this build here as well, sweeping kick. So, sweeping kick, they say that pros, no Moonflash Kick, which in my opinion is like one of the most clunky skills that you have in the Striker's kit. More damage, like I said, affected by Lazarus drop. Went over this. Now, what are the cons, right? It has a very long animation as well, much like Moonflash Kick. It is a chaotic rotation. And what does that mean? Well, unfortunately, as you are playing with Sweeping Kick, it's not as clean as though you were playing with Moonflash Kick. When you play with Sweeping Kick, the rotation gets messed up. And what do I mean by that? Well, with the normal setup, right? With Moonflash Kick, normally you go pretend Sweeping Kick is Moonflash Kick, right? So normally you would go this into that, then you do this, into this, you do that, and you finish up with these 3 generators into the last spin, right? Great. And then you just rinse and repeat. Well, that's not quite the case with this build. As you can see, it's not up yet. So I need to go into this one, into Tiger Strike, into Sweeping Kick, into VTD, into this, and then the next time around, it's still like that. But then the weird part is, at some point, your rotation will reset again, and you'll go back into VTD, into Sweeping Kick for your Tiger Strike, for your second SO skill. It's weird, it happens, and that is the weird part about this rotation. Now, during an actual raid scenario, when you don't have 100% uptime, that weirdness isn't as obvious sometimes because you're not keeping 100% uptime. So sometimes your Vicious Tiger, your Sweeping Kick might come up before your other skills because you're not keeping 100% uptime. But at the end of the day, if you're keeping good uptime, it will be a weird rotation. So that's why another reason some people like me, I don't really like it. With that, also Lazneth proc will desync because there's a lot of downtime in this build as well. Because sometimes you're waiting for your skills to come back out. Skills delaying, yep, same thing, and mostly incompatible with focus hit. And what they mean by that is that you need to run Enlightened Bracelet or Pants Elixir, the specialty gain Pants Elixir, to be able to use the fast Vicious Tiger Dance. you have to use the slow one if you don't have those available to you, which means you're going to be dropping damage if you do choose to go that way. But if you don't choose to go that way and use the old Vicious Tiger Dance, it is slower, right? So that is this build. That is the pros and cons of this build. And what do I think, right? Well, I kind of alluded to what I think earlier. I actually said what I think earlier. I don't really like it. I think it's even more clunky than the Moonflash Kick version. And here is the reason why. So, as the build itself mentioned, it is also a very slow skill. There's a huge windup to the skill that is really annoying. The thing is, Moonflash Kick takes a long time to come out, right? It takes a long time to come out, but at least when I use it, it immediately goes. It doesn't have this whole charge up situation that we have to worry about, right? It just immediately goes. And I'm gonna equip Moonflash Kick real quick. That way I can show you guys. Put it right there, save. So Moonflash Kick, it immediately goes, right? While it does take a hot second to finish, at least it immediately moves and you do your attack. Also, it's a pseudo mobility skill, right? So the boss moves out of the way, you can still hit the boss. But let's say you're trying to throw in your sweeping kick from here and the boss does a backdash. Well, you're probably gonna miss that. Whereas Moonflash Kick, it's a mobility skill. It moves you forward. So you will likely be able to chase the boss and still be able to hit them and get that meter. So it's a lot more flexible in that way. And also there have been times where if I had Moonflash Kick, I would have either not gotten hit by a skill or wouldn't have died because I could have used it as a mobility skill, like a last-ditch mobility skill, to get to a safe spot or something like that. But unfortunately, without that, Sweeping Kick just doesn't do that for you. Yes, it does more damage, way more damage than Moonflash Kick, right? But you're giving up a lot of comfortability, you're giving a lot of mobility, you're giving up a lot of things to use this higher damage ceiling build. And a lot of those things, I'm just not a big fan of. I don't want to have to really worry about looking at my skill cooldowns. Be like, oh, am I at the right time where Sweeping Kick is going to be up? Do I need to swap my rotation a little bit to make up for the fact that Sweeping Kick has a long cooldown? Do I need to hold on this skill because Sweeping Kick's about to come up and, you know, it lines up syncs perfectly with the other skills? Like, there's a lot of, like, on-the-fly thinking and also looking at your skill cooldowns when you're playing Sweeping Kick. But the other thing that I've noticed is that with Moonflash Kick, I can run with a level 7 gem and I'll be fine in terms of cooldown. When it comes to Sweeping Kick, I find that when you're running with a level 7 gem, the desyncs, the uncomfortability, and the changes in the rotations, it's exasperated. It makes it even worse. You really need high cooldown gems to make this build work. And also with that, your other skills, your Lightning Tiger Strike, your Tiger Emerges, of course, Blast Formation always need on a really high skill cooldown gem. But with Lightning Tiger Strike and Tiger Emerges, I also ran level 7 cooldowns, and I found that that also runs into issues as well. So with this build, to make it feel really good, you need to have high level cooldown gems on pretty much all of the skills that you have in your kit. I think really the only skills that you don't have to have like level 9, level 10 cooldown gems to make this build feel good is like your Sky Shattering Blow, your Lightning Whisper, and your Vicious Tiger Dance. Those can have like 8s or something like that. But everything else, you need to have level 10s, 9s or 10s to make it feel good. Whereas the old build, I'd say level 7s for the most part for everything other than your Blast Formation made it still feel fine. Of course, you can even have a lower skill cooldown for Blast Formation with the other build, but you know, to really make it feel like the rotation isn't completely clunky, like super clunky, I will always recommend a level 10 cooldown on Blast Formation. But yeah, it's not very comfortable to use. And the other thing is that while on paper it is more damage, because the skill is a little bit more clunky, right? You're probably having a little bit lower uptime. And this might just be because I haven't played with this build like a ton. I've only been playing for a couple of days, so I'm going to continue playing with it and testing it out. But sometimes, I think your likelihood to miss this skill is a lot higher. Because, as I mentioned earlier, it's not a mobility skill, right? So if the boss moves out of the way or something, you are likely to miss the skill. And also doesn't come out instantly either. There's a little bit of a wind-up. So Whereas this one comes on instantly, and maybe you might miss the second part of the flip. You still get some meter, right? But if you miss this skill, it just completely whiffs. You don't have multiple hits. So you're completely losing out on that, that meter when you miss this skill. So with that, I also think that even though the on paper black and white damage ceiling is higher, unless you're playing like really, really well, you're actually going to be losing out on damage when you're running this sweeping kick, because it is a little bit harder to use, and it makes the rest of your rotations very awkward, so you're not really comfortable when you're playing it. It's just an overall more awkward build. The more on paper damage does more, but at the same time, the comfort level is just, in my opinion, not really worth it most of the time. But again, I haven't played it for a long time, so maybe over time I'll get more used to it. I'm going to continue testing it, but yeah, this build is not like the most comfortable build out there, and as a result, the damage is not that much different in an actual raid scenario as well. So would I recommend you guys trying this out? At the moment, I wouldn't. I still think that the old Moonflash Kick build is just a more versatile, better build. But, you know, if you're a damage Goblino and you want to use the highest damage build, the highest damage ceiling build, then swap over to this build. You can, you know, eventually we'll all get used to it. It'll be fine. But just at the moment, I don't really see an advantage to this. And I guess the last thing is that, you know, it makes it so you have to run another damage gem, right? Before, I've advertised that Striker. The nice thing about Striker is that, or Deathblow Striker, you only need 3 damage gems. Well, you need a 4th one now for Sweeping Kick. So that makes the cost of the build go up as well. So those are my impressions and thoughts on this new Striker build, on the Sweeping Kick build. It's got higher damage, but it's a lot more clunky and makes it a lot less comfortable to play. So do what you want. If you want to run this build, go ahead. If you don't want to run this build, stick with the Moonflash Kick. I'm going to keep trying the Sweeping Kick build, and I'll probably report back again soon on what I think about it, what my final thoughts are about it. But as always, let me know in the comment section below if this video helped you out, and let me know if you are swapping over to this build. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, please remember to hit the like button, hit the sub button, ring the bell for notifications, and also I stream on twitch.tv/vsoxshrew every single night starting at 10 p.m. PST. So hopefully I'll see y'all on my stream, but if not, hopefully I see you guys on the next video. Alright guys, peace out.